everyone, and welcome back to another year of Divisional Previews. I know there's a lot of previews going up on this channel, a lot of videos, but this is Divisional where I bring my dad Tony on and we get a debate about these teams. So it's not just me giving my opinion. Someone will tell me when I'm being an idiot.
You still don't listen.
Well, I'm 24 years old. Do we ever listen?
No, that's very true. 1 point for you.
So we are starting this off on the AFC West. We are doing this order in alphabetical order. We will go Broncos, Chargers, Chiefs, Raiders. If you want to find your team in this preview, that's the order. You can go look for it. But what are your overall thoughts on this division? Because I'm really excited for the AFC West, and I haven't said that for a long time.
Well, I still think that there's going to be room for a couple teams to grow. They're not fully there as of yet, but all in all, I think this is definitely an up-and-coming division. All four teams actually have, good offensive play. I think they're, like I said, they're short on a few players, but it's going to definitely be intriguing. KC made it to the Super Bowl. But they struggled in their division last year. So what does that mean for the upcoming year? We're gonna have to see because I think all four of the teams got better.
This division really reminds me of like prime AFC North, in which it feels like there's a lead team, but any of these teams can beat each other on any given Sunday.
Yeah, I'd fully agree with that.
Okay, so kicking it off, we go to Denver, Colorado to talk about the Denver Broncos. And I think the most important question is, did they have a really good free agency, or is this just a lot of names they're taking bets on that they can recapture their former glory?
So it's interesting that you say that because when going back through one, I like the Evan Ingram pickup, but I mean he missed a lot of time last year, so. Not sure if at this point in his career, if that's going to keep coming up. But Greenlaw and Hufanga, both are names, were names on a really, really solid defense, but neither one's been able to stay healthy for the last couple of years. So you throw quite a bit of money at them, but is that really going to help your team? Are they going to be there when you need them, or are they just going to be injured again? And Greenlaw is not exactly young to boot.
No, he is 28 years old, I believe. I am higher on Greenlaw than Hufanga. I think Hufanga, talented. He makes some plays that's a little questionable. He is like Troy Polamalu, is which he tries to be full-on Troy Polamalu, if that makes sense. But
yeah, that's totally fair.
Dre Greenlaw, to me, there's just something there that even if he is like 75% of Dre Greenlaw we saw in San Francisco, you sign that guy to a contract. He can be just a game-changing linebacker that the Broncos don't currently have.
Yeah, I guess I mean, we haven't seen it, right? Yeah, and don't get me wrong, it's not like they signed him to a huge deal. So if it doesn't work this year, they can get out of it. But I think they're putting a lot of faith in somebody that over the past couple seasons has not been able to stay healthy.
Yes, and it's very unfortunate how he got his injury because for those who don't know, he got his injury wasn't on like the sideline before they went out there in the Super Bowl. It was like the sideline right after halftime.
No, it was during a play.
Really?
Yeah.
I just remember the video of the everyone reacting on the sideline. It was oh crap. It was not good.
Well, yeah, because you could tell what happened.
Yeah.
So
Hufanga, there's not as much to talk about. It's just he's a good player, not a bad term, and they can easily get out of the contract. Evan Ingram, I'm lower on than you because I've never been an Evan Ingram fan. But if there's one man who knows how to utilize a receiving tight end, it's Sean Payton.
Yeah, well, no, I agree. And like I said, I've always really liked Evan Ingram. But just go back to Dre Greenlaw for a second. He does have a quadriceps injury currently. So he might not start the season.
That's unfortunate. And before we move on to the draft class, because it was a really good draft class, I want to highlight an under the radar signing that is very recent, bringing in J.K. Dobbins.
Yes, yes. As long, we've always loved Dobbins as long as he stays healthy, right? The problem is, unfortunately, is he has never been able to stay healthy, and it's so tragic because when he was in Baltimore and he was able to play, God, he just made magic happen.
Yeah, I think we are the podcast that is the biggest J.K. Dobbins stands that he's never played for our team. Because we always rave about him.
Yes, that's true. That's 100% true.
And he's even played for my team's rival, and I still was like, dude, this dude's amazing. There's not a whole bunch of talk about the Broncos because they made their signings, but there wasn't a whole bunch of trades they made. But the highlight for the Broncos was their draft class. And overall, what do you think of this draft class?
Well, I like the first few for depth. I mean, I wasn't all that high on it, but Jahdae Barron was one of my favorite draft crushes in this draft. I would have loved to have had a certain team, in the Pacific Northwest have drafted him, but didn't happen, and that's okay because I'm happy with where they went. But that's in another episode. RJ Harvey, I think that he's going to be a good change of pace back. So I really like that. Pat Bryant, wide receiver. We'll see what happens. He's up and down. So, and then I'm not a Sagan Jones fan. I didn't really think it wasn't my favorite. So, and then everybody else is just, bottom of the draft. So, on for this division, and we'll talk about it later. It's not my favorite draft.
So they took three of my gems that I loved this process. I of course liked Barron, but I couldn't classify him as a gem because everyone was on Barron. So with whatever people want to say about, I can't get the best in depth because there are people who loved Barron more than me that could go deeper into that. But where I beat people out is with RJ Harvey. RJ Harvey is a bolt of lightning, and he's perfect for a Sean Payton offense. He's a very get up and go, quick pace back, had one of the best explosion rates in this past draft class, which shocked me a bit when I watched him, but I looked at the explosion rate and I watched the film again. You could very much see it on the film. Then I looked at Pat Bryant. Pat Bryant is, to me, Tim Patrick. And that's a really good player, as Broncos fans know. He's not the fastest, but with what he is a very solid route runner that handles press pretty good and can just catch the football. He's not going to burn you away with any speed or anything really amazing. He's just a really good, solid football player. And then Quay Robinson, I had him as a gem because he was so explosive coming off an edge. This is a very developmental guy, do not get me wrong. He originally started out as a free safety at Alabama, but converted to edge. His explosion off the line is very much of a safety coming downhill. It's quick, he's got to work on some things, but I do love the pick for a 4th round player. And hey, I can talk about Jeremy Crawshaw. Go Gators. Good punter. Really all I can add there.
Fair enough. So, do you think any of the losses in free agency is going to hurt them?
I mean, Cody Barton was a key player on their defense, but you're betting on Greenlaw playing, which may not be the best bet as you just went over. Tremont Smith, meh. Zach Wilson, don't even really talk about that. Riley Dixon could be, it depends how Crawshaw adjusts to the NFL. Javonte Williams, I'm a big fan of him, but he just had injury issues in Denver. He needed a clean start. Zach Cunningham, Lil Jordan Humphrey, that's whatever.
Yeah. So it's ironic that you have Cody Barton as their basically biggest loss. And as a Seattle Seahawk fan, we were glad to see Cody go. So, it's just funny that we were glad to see somebody go, and this team would consider him a loss.
3 years, $21 million. He's drying up his tears. Your comments about his tears with that cash.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, do you have anything to add, or do you want to jump to the Chargers?
Let's jump to the Chargers.
Okay, now the Chargers offseason did not go how I thought it was. I thought they were going to be very aggressive pursuing a wide receiver, which they just never did. I was a little shocked that they let Josh Palmer walk, because I thought Josh Palmer was a really good receiver for them last year, but they let him walk. Letting Puna Ford walk also shocked me a bit. Kristen Fulton, we'll talk about him a bit more when we get to the Chiefs. And they cut Joey Bosa. But they did bring in Mekhi Becton, Dante Jackson, Bradley Bozeman. Before I go on a rant about Dante Jackson, I'm going to hand it over to you.
So, to be quite honest, one of the biggest losses, in my opinion, for them was Puna Ford. I think he's like 300 years old now. And he's never been that dominant guy. But the thing is, he does his assignment, and he's always where he's supposed to be. Becton, I'm curious because, as much as we thought that they were just going to try to drive the ball down everybody's throat last year, they did a lot of movement. They ran, they ran a lot of zone, and Mekhi Becton is pretty much that power guy. That's one of the reasons why he worked so well in Philadelphia, because he just got to stay in his box, because they put him in at guard. He got to stay in his box, and he just got to maul people. It's when he gets out and he tries to go laterally that he has that problem. So it's going to be interesting to see how that works.
I want to ask you about Becton, because they did change their running back room. J.K. Dobbins, you could argue, is a better zone runner. They brought in Omarion Hampton and Najee Harris, which you can consider more power-based running games. Do you think that was more or less the game plan, that, hey, this zone worked, but we really want to be the power team, and Becton signals that?
Yeah, so that's interesting. I think Omarion Hampton is going to be more of a zone scheme in the NFL. Najee, Najee should be a power runner, but he dances too much. I don't know, but it's going to be interesting. What did you think about bringing in Trey Lance and Taylor Heineke?
Good that they're still in the league for them.
Good on them. Yeah, I'd agree with that.
So now I can complain a bit about Dante Jackson, because I saw him on my Steelers last year. When the Steelers lost him, do you know what I said?
Yay.
Along the lines, there were some other words in there. Let's just put it like this. There was maybe a shot of bourbon or two in there to celebrate. Dante Jackson's a bad football player. I'll just be honest. He cannot be a coverage corner. He also has injury issues. He had plenty of back injuries at Pittsburgh in that 1 year. He is not... I don't get it, because you think Harbaugh, you think physical team. Dante Jackson is not physical at all. And maybe he tricks these coaches to think he is. He is not. It is not a good watch.
To be quite honest, though, I don't think he's a starter. I think he is just, I think he's just there, right? I think he'll play like some nickel and things, but I would venture to say St. Juice will play more than Jackson will. And I love Benjamin St. Juice. I think he's awesome.
That's fair. And before we really move on, because, listen, I could talk more about Najee Harris, but out of a fear of this going too long, where it's not going to have me discuss about my feelings on the matter, Asante Samuel Jr. is still a free agent. I know he's dealing with a back injury. Do you think that's someone they look to bring back, or no, not at all?
I'm shocked, right? And maybe after the the 53-man cut down, comes out and somebody picks him up, because heck, you pick him up and you put him on the practice squad, or you sign him and then you move him to the unable to play list for 8 weeks and get until he gets healthy. I just, he's too good a player when he's on the field that somebody won't take a flyer on him.
I would take a flyer on him even if he couldn't play this year. I'd give him a contract and I'd put him on IR and I'd be like, hey, we did you this favor. You want to play for us?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah, he's so talented, and it is a loss for the Chargers.
Oh, huge loss.
Moving on to the draft, and I think it's okay if I don't comment on the first pick out of fear of cursing too much. So I will hand you the unvalued pick in my eyes, and I'll take the second round pick.
Okay. I think it was for what they want to do. I think Omarion Hampton was a great choice. Interesting that I kind of really want to know where you're going with this, but I think that he is just the kind of back that they want to have. He's multifaceted, right? He can catch the ball, and he will run some power, but he's so elusive in between the tackles that's what I've seen him play, that's his superpower. Is he just, I'm not comparing him to the player that I'm about to say. So please do not hate me for this. I'm just saying that some of his change of directions because of the color of the uniform just sparked Barry Sanders flashbacks. Okay? Not saying he's Barry Sanders. Underline, exclamation point. I just love his change of direction.
I'm not nearly as high as him as you are. Oh my God, compare him to one of the best running backs of all time.
I did not.
Wow, I don't know how to top this. I'm curious to see what you're going to say about Ash Agenti now later on. Wow. Here's my thing with Hampton. I'm not a fan of running backs round one. It's yucky to me. I don't like it. And he could be talented. He fits the system very well. He was also my 4th rated running back, so I had guys who were picked after him rated above him as well. So I looked at that on that value chart, not including just the positional grade. I had him lower than some players. He's talented. I get the vision. Just not the pick I would make.
Well, and that's fair, right? I just you and I both, you and I have different opinions. I'm old, you're not, so I believe that running backs are a value that you need to invest in. So, and he's one of those guys. And this was a running back deep class.
Yes.
So
apparently good enough to be as good as Barry Sanders.
I'm so glad that there are multiple spots when I said I am not comparing him to Barry Sanders. So
who says those are making in the final edit?
Okay, fair enough. So I will go out and say right now that when we talk a little while later about drafts and the orders, this is my favorite draft in this division, right? I love the Hampton move. I love the Trey Harris move. We were talking earlier tonight. You thought that maybe they should have brought in a veteran wide receiver. But I love that now they'll have Trey Harris, because you remember in the draft we talked, and it's not that I would say he wasn't talented, but his route tree was limited. Well, you have Ladd McConkey to do all of those amazing things in the route tree, and Trey can just run his go routes and his out routes, and he can be good. You can let him be good at what he's good at and not try to make him into something he's not. So I'm really happy. I think that pair is going to be amazing to watch. I liked this is going to be crazy, but Arande Gadsden the second, they've got, I don't know, have you looked at their tight end room? Their tight end room is pretty deep. But I think that Gadsden will be more of a receiving threat than anybody thinks I think they have him on the third depth chart spot right now.
So I didn't watch too much of Gadsden, but I watched a lot of the other players. And, with what you just said about Trey Harris, who was the person that was probably on Trey Harris's biggest fan club list during the draft class?
That would be you.
Loved him. I didn't knock him from his limited route tree because I think that's a product of the college he was at. I don't think Ole Miss is the best college when it comes to developed route trees and just helping receivers showcase what they have. To me, he was a phenomenal deep weapon that can take the top off. He had some really good run blocking ability. And unfortunately, I still think he would have gone higher if he didn't deal with the groin injury his last year at Ole Miss, which was very unfortunate because he's such a talented player. I think, and I will stand by it, he should have been a first-round pick. I'll stand by that to this day. Jameer Caldwell, and I'm surprised you didn't highlight him because this is such a your type of player. He's just a really good nose tackle that just stuffs that run game.
Well, I had to let you talk some.
That's fair. Caldwell, for those who don't know, he was my number 1 rated Oregon defensive tackle in this class. Loved him. I thought he made everyone so much better around. And that's why I'm a little bit okay with letting Poona Ford go, because I think he can fit that Poona Ford role. Kyle Kennard. I liked a lot of South Carolina guys this past draft class. Good edge rusher, can get off the ball very quickly. He's a developmental guy, do not get me wrong. I still think he's got a lot of room to grow in the run game. But you look at the Chargers, they don't have a lot of talent at the edge position. They got Khalil Mack. That's really it. Kyle Kennard will get plenty of reps, plenty of chances to go. And I think he can very much get pressure on quarterbacks. Lambert Smith from Auburn. I did watch some of him. I thought he was a very talented guy. I didn't think there was a whole bunch there. A guy I could see being a very good special teams gunner, or maybe a 4th wide receiver on a team. And just to add, one last guy I did watch, and this probably will not surprise you, would be Tywaziki Bridges, the Florida Gator product.
I am shocked.
He was a solid player, nothing special, nothing amazing. Again, a guy I could see having some special teams value, though.
All right. So we're going to move on to the Raiders now?
Chiefs.
Or the Chiefs, excuse me.
Wow.
I'm learning the alphabet.
The Chiefs, and interesting free agency period for them because they did lose some really key players, but they did bring in some. They brought in some football players. They paid one that, oh boy, I really don't know what to make of this offseason, like with just the free agency period with them, because I do like the move of Kristen Fulton. Losing Justin Reed hurts, but I understand. Cap system, you're going to let some guys walk. Wharton, losing him does hurt, but I understand. Cap system. Brought back Charles Omenihu on a pretty good rate. I like that a good bit. Elijah Mitchell, very talented running back. They brought in Tillery, which I don't know is a good addition.
Well, I mean, he's just going to be a depth piece, I think that you really talked about, on the last with the Chargers, you talked about Caldwell. One of my draft crushes for the defensive tackle is here. So I know losing Wharton was bad, but I mean the contract that he signed, it's like
you can't pay that. You can't pay
you can't pay that. So what do? You go out and you get Omar Noman Lott, and you're gonna have him right beside Chris Jones. I'm telling you, that is gonna be like that is gonna be a symphony. Just watching those two work next to each other. I am so jacked to get to watch them because I think that Lott has so much potential that nobody knows about yet.
I don't, and we're jumping the line here going to the draft talk, but
Sorry.
I'll have to leave a lot of my Omar Norman Lott takes. I did really like him a lot. I do want to hammer home though this Jalen Moore signing at 2 years, $15 million per.
Well,
You're a fan of the NFC West team. What do you think of that contract?
um, I don't see it, but yeah, I don't see it, right? The only thing I can think of is that um, maybe he's better at left tackle than right tackle because he played right tackle
Well,
in San Francisco. Maybe
counterpoint. Camp started today. They had the rookie Josh Simmons at left tackle, and he's playing right tackle in camp right now.
is Taylor hurt?
I don't know.
Okay, well, fair enough. Yeah, I personally think that Josh Simmons will end up getting that starting job. I mean, I think that Jalen Moore is going to be a very, very expensive backup, but that's just my opinion because I'm not a fan.
It feels like they thought they had to do something, and they rushed a poor decision.
Well, and sometimes you do that. So it'll be interesting. Um, so it's so this year's cap hit for him is just a little over 11 million. So technically, they can get rid of him next year, and it's only a $10 million cap hit. They'd be saving $8 million. So,
I get what you're saying, and it is a minor issue because 10 million you can work around that instead of 18. It just feels like it wasn't the wisest decision.
no. I'd say that you're probably spot on there.
Yeah, it was a move that they didn't have to make, and to be fair, I don't think we thought they'd get the tackle they thought they would get in the draft.
No,
But
no.
but still, I still question that deal, even if he was a starter.
One thing we have not addressed is we have not addressed their MVP that left.
Am I blanking on a name here?
Yeah, won the Super Bowl for him. McCole Hardman.
Oh wow,
He's with the Packers.
you know what's bad? Spot Tech doesn't even. Okay, Spot Tech has him at the very bottom. I'm looking at the available. I'm like, they lost Carson Wentz. What did he do? That's what I was thinking.
Oh no, yeah, McCole Hardman. So I think the Josh Uche loss is going to hurt.
God, I'm still angry about that trade. How much little they gave up for him. Yeah, Uche going to the Eagles, man. Woof. Maybe.
Yeah, their linebacking core, considering what they started out before going into last year, their linebacking core is definitely gotten a whole lot better over the last couple of years.
So let's move into the draft now, and I think if you can tell by how we talked about, we love these first two picks. Josh Simmons has all the potential in the world to become that left tackle of the future for a long period of time. I know he had injury issues, and apparently there were some character concerns during the draft process. I don't get how you watch his film and you think, yeah, we don't need him. I can think of many teams that should have drafted him, that need a left tackle, that should have just picked him. Cough, cough. I'm looking at you, Houston. I don't get how he was available to the 32nd pick, and they traded down, gaining an extra pick from the Eagles to get him.
Hey, I really like the Jalen Royals in the fourth round as well.
Agreed.
I think I'm actually shocked that he didn't go sooner. I think I had him pegged, um, late second into the third. But yeah, that's a really good get because of what he can bring. He's Mahomes. If you think about it, Mahomes does do a lot of that spontaneous, pull the rabbit out of the hat kind of plays, and Royals will be perfect for that.
This is going to sound a really weird comp. You know who he reminded me at when I watched this film? Julian Edelman.
That's actually a really good comp.
Yeah, you wouldn't think it, but when you watch it, he's always in that right spot.
Yeah.
But to go to the guy we wanted to talk about, Omar Norman Lott. I'm concerned about him in any rush defense role, and which is fine. He's not the biggest guy in the world. But as a pass rusher, oh dear God, those poor quarterbacks. You have to block Norman Lott, Chris Jones, George Karlaftis, and whatever 15 guys Spagnola's bringing on top of that. Like, how are these quarterbacks going to react to that?
They're going to get pushed to the outside, which is one of the reasons why they gave Karlaftis the money that they gave him.
Yeah, they saw their defense and was like, ooh, we better pay him now before he,
Yeah. Well, and that's one of the things with Wharton. Wharton was really solid against the run, but he didn't provide anything on the pass. And so when Chris Jones would go in outside to the edge because he moves around a lot, they would get nothing on the inside. And so, that's one of the reasons why you bring in Norman Lott, because now Chris Jones can go wherever and you still have pressure coming into the inside.
Yeah. Well, it's such a smart pick that people don't realize it until we watch them on Sundays all throughout the season. We're going to be like, who in the blue hell thought letting him fall to the Chiefs was a smart idea? They also took Ashton Gelati. I apologize if I butchered that name. I thought he was a talented guy. Really reminded me of a good run stuffer. I didn't really think of him as a pass rushing guy, but as a run stuffer, which makes sense if you take Omar. You need to take a guy that can play in the spot if you need a run defender in the game.
Yeah, well, I mean, kind of different roles though. So,
and the last guy I will highlight before we move on, because I don't know if you have anything else to add, but Brashard Smith. Brashard Smith, besides having the best birthday in the world, April 11th, is just a really good running back. He's a good receiving back out of the backfield. He's the type of guy Andy Reid really knows how to utilize to the fullest potential.
No, I agree with you there. Do you think, speaking about running backs, do you think that Pacheco is going to get an extension here sometime soon?
I would say no, because it right now feels like they're willing to let Pacheco walk. It feels like, and I'm just going to throw it to another team that has a similar situation going on. It feels like the Bills are going to let James Cook walk. If, like, a lot of these teams, like, I'm sure they would love to have a Saquon Barkley, but I don't know if teams are going to pay money to not a Saquon Barkley right now.
No. There's a lot of teams that you're right. And this running back class was so deep this year.
Yeah, and like Brashard Smith in the 7th round. In 2024, how much higher would he have gone?
He'd have probably been a 4th or 5th rounder.
Yeah, like that's insane value. So, are you ready to get to the silver and black? And the first real head coaching change we get to talk about, but unfortunately, a very boring head coach. Not much to talk about there.
Kind of a fuddy-duddy.
So, you're the Seahawks fan. I figure you're the better one out of the two of us that can give Raiders fans what to expect from Pete Carroll.
Energy, flat out energy. He he's not fake. I mean, that's one of the coolest thing. Everybody's like, "Oh God, he can't keep doing this all the time." Yes, he is going to run around. I mean, if anybody saw some of like the Raiders, spring stuff where he's jumping on offensive linemen trying to pin him like a wrestler, he plays catch with everybody. He works on pass drills. He's a cheerleader, but he's got so much knowledge, and he doesn't BS when every position is available. If you come in and you play and you're the better player, you're going to get that position. So he's the right person considering the plethora of coaches that have gone through that cycle through there. I don't think he's going to be around long. Specifically, I mean, I love him. He's the youngest, 900-year-old man you're ever going to find. But I would say that 3 or 4 years at tops, if they're successful, and then he's going to move on. But he is what they need, because they've been just basically ground up and spit out year after year. The coaches come in, and it just wears on a team. And so he will not wear on the team. He will excite them.
Now I got to ask, what are your thoughts on new offensive coordinator Chip Kelly?
Next question.
Okay.
I am not a Chip Kelly fan.
I will handle the Chip Kelly segment, because I don't think we have to inform Raiders and Patrick Graham, but I watch a lot more college football than you. And Chip Kelly in recent years really adapted his style to, ironically, a more NFL style after he got fired in his last run. It's slower pace. It's not as go, go, go. They don't really try to have as many plays as possible, which was Chip's issue in Philadelphia and San Francisco. He went to UCLA, he changed that up, he went to Ohio State, and he really refined it, in my opinion. They were a slower-paced offense. They were a very NFL-paced offense. And why did it work so well? Because they had the players to do so. I'm not saying the Raiders' offense is going to be amazing or anything, or expect amazing feats from Chip Kelly. I'm just saying he's not the same coach he was when he got fired last time. So let's wait and see how he adjusts going to the NFL again from college.
Fair enough.
So, before we talk about their biggest acquisition, which I think everyone knows what it is, I do want to talk about the guys they lost. Trayvon Moehrig going to the Panthers, that's not the most fun loss. Nate Hobbs, I think he's a bigger loss going to the Packers. Robert Spillane going to the Patriots, that's such a Mike Vrabel pickup.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Divine Diablo going to the Falcons. They did lose a good bit of defensive guys. And is that more or less because they didn't fit Pete's system? Or is it just they want their own guys in there?
I think they want their own guys in there. If you look at how Moehrig and Hobbs play, they don't really play the way Pete is going to want them to play. To be quite honest, I'm kind of shocked that Spillane didn't stay. I'm not going to lie. Pete loves a good Mike backer, and Spillane's a good Mike backer. So that one kind of makes me, kind of hem and haw. But I mean, if you look at some of the additions that they brought in, they may be trying to go more, play a lot more big nickel. And he didn't really fit into that big nickel package very well. So, I mean, when you're bringing in Jeremy Chin, you're wanting him to play close up in the box, in your big nickel and your dimes. And so it might be just an indication about how they're going to play with their defense.
Yep. Landon Roberts, I'll speak on him real quick because he was a Steeler. Very good downhill linebacker. Not someone you'd see featured much in nickel, but will be very important in run defense plays. But there is one guy I think we need to highlight, because I had heard for so many years how this dude is one of the best linebackers in the NFL, Devin White. Thoughts?
I didn't even know they signed him.
Yes, he signed with them at 1 year, 1.17 million.
Well, Pete liked him, right?
And what does Pete Carroll love to do? Reclamations.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, if you think about it, uh, he he's got all the tools. He just can't stay healthy, right? And if you have a role for him, at $1 million, and besides that, if he doesn't make the team, you're not out anything, right?
No,
Because
I just saw his name and I was like, that's such a Pete Carroll reclamation.
oh
That's
gosh, yeah,
such a Pete.
absolutely, absolutely.
Now it's time to talk about the big move. Geno Smith going to the Raiders, reuniting with Pete Carroll. I love Geno Smith, and I'll talk about him before we get to you because you have more insight on Geno. I feel like Geno Smith is one of the most disrespected players in the NFL because his offensive line was pathetic in Seattle. You look at how he played with that O-line, he was a very good quarterback. Now, not saying the Raiders' O-line is great or amazing, but it's an improvement from last year's Seahawks interior offensive line. And you look at the fact he's going to have A+ level running back in Ashton Genty, Brock Bowers, maybe they could use a receiver or two, but you got to really like what they're building on offense with Geno Smith.
I'm just going to tell you right now, Geno is one. He is a top 12 quarterback in this league. When you talked about how horrible Seattle's offensive line was, you really didn't. You really didn't do it justice.
Well, to be honest, I'm saving a lot of my gripe when we do the Seahawks video.
Okay. Yeah, I just it, and I mean, he had the least time to throw in the NFL over the last 2 seasons, and he did the most with it. And so I just I understand he wanted to go to Pete. I mean, that's what he wanted. And you could say he felt a little disrespected because Seattle kept on just extending him a little bit at a time and reworking his deal and reworking his deal. And this is probably going to be his last deal. So hey, get your money when you can. And he's going to be good for that culture too, right? Because he's a little fiery, and they need that fire. So he is really good at finding those tight ends. So, yeah.
I would also like to add real quick, he is probably the perfect quarterback to have mentor a young guy in the league. Because this is a dude that was ran out of New York with pitchforks. He rebuilt himself. He understands the pressure that's on a young quarterback. He understands the ins and outs of the game and how to help a younger guy. That can't be ignored when you look at the Raiders, who, as we said, Geno's probably on his last deal. They can draft a guy and have him learn under Geno.
Yeah. Oh, that's totally fair. It's totally fair.
Now time to talk about their draft class, which is...
All right. So I'm just gonna give you the floor to talk about their number 1 overall pick.
Genty's a special talent. Don't get me wrong. I understand it. And for the Raiders, I don't hate it as much as everyone else because their clock is so short that it makes sense. Because if you're Pete Carroll, why draft a guy for 6 years down the line when I probably have 3 to 4 years in the league? Get me Ash Genty, which I understand. I understand that. Still not the biggest fan of the move with just positional value. Talented runner, amazing after contact, will be the focal point for the Raiders offense most likely this year and will help set the Raiders up in second and short, third and short compared to second and long, third and long like they were in last year. And something to highlight with Ashton Genty is Jackson Powers-Johnson will be the starting center, and that is such a key last year because their center last year, I'm blanking on his name, was horrifically bad. It's addition by subtraction there.
Yeah, absolutely. Jack Besh, we both really liked him in the draft. I think he's going to be sneaky good for them. Completely different kind. Are you having an aneurysm over there?
No, I think I was a little lower on Besh than you, actually.
Okay. Fair enough then.
So my issue with Besh was I never really felt like he could be a top 2 option on a team. I think he is the perfect third option.
I think he's definitely a 2.
See, that's where we disagree. I just never saw it as a top 2 option. I think he's a good third.
And I think he'll complement Jacoby Myers really well.
Darian Porter, I didn't really get him as much. I understand the pick. He just wasn't someone I was as high on as everyone else.
No, I'm there with you. Caleb Rogers.
I thought he was talented.
I think getting Charles Grant that late in the 3rd round is a huge get.
But if he hits, that's a guy you just smile about.
God. Well, can you imagine, like right now, just putting him in at guard too, letting him just get a hold of people?
He's 6'4", 309. He gets a hold of you, you ain't going anywhere.
Dante Thornton, I liked. I think that's right around the spot where I thought that he'd go is in the 4th round.
My number one rule right now is don't trust Tennessee wide receivers. Their film is really weird.
Yeah. I feel that Tonka Hemingway is like the coolest name for a defensive tackle ever, but the guy should be 340 pounds and not just a little over 280 pounds. All right. But I mean, that's just, I mean, he's not doing his name justice.
But he does have some good pass rushing ability, like everyone from that South Carolina front 7.
Yes. JJ Pegues, I really like him. I think where they got him was kind of a steal.
Are you ready for my hottest take that people hate?
Okay.
He should not be a fullback. I saw him in the Florida game. That dude got tackled by a cornerback. Came up, took his legs out from under him. I'm sorry, it's not going to work in the NFL.
Well, that's fair. I mean, that's but.
Up next, a guy we're familiar with a bunch.
Touchdown Tommy.
Who they are converting to a wide receiver, and I think that's for the better.
Oh gosh, absolutely. But just think about wildcat moves with him.
I don't want to. I saw enough of him throwing the football to last a lifetime.
It wasn't that bad.
It was pretty bad. Now,
wasn't.
I actually really do like their next pick after Touchdown Tommy.
Cam Miller. Yeah, well, Moxie, right? And you figure you have the 2 starting quarterbacks for the FBS championship. So, hey.
If you told me Cam Miller was going to play running back, I'd believe you. This dude just has this weird thing when you watch him play, that tick that just screams, I want to just kill you. I don't want to beat you. I want to kill you. He puts his shoulder down on these big guys who outweigh him. I saw this against Colorado. He just doesn't do it against FCS teams. He'll do it against FBS teams. He plays with no fear. If you are not a Raiders fan, watch their preseason games and watch him play. It will be some of the most fun you have during the preseason.
Yeah. So, I mean, I thought they had a really good draft. And, I mean, it's kind of a Pete Carroll draft because they have like 50 picks.
Yeah.
The only thing that they didn't do is trade down.
Yep, pretty much. And I think it's important now we go to our rankings and how we view a lot of this stuff. Rookie of the year, player of the year, draft class, staff. But I do want to throw out some themes real quick. And I want you to grade how good I did in the process before recording. So this is what I wrote down for every big move by a team, what I thought was the biggest move they made. For the Broncos, I wrote Dre Greenlaw. I think if Greenlaw is healthy, and there's a big if, he has a chance to really change that defense.
Fair enough.
For the Chargers, I did write Mekhi Becton because I just really think it can work out if they go really towards that power run based style.
And if that's how they're going to go, then yeah, I mean that was a big get. So
Chiefs, I'm gonna read verbatim what I wrote. Holy crap! How'd they get Josh Simmons?
Yeah, no, you're 100% right there. That was crazy.
And Raiders, Geno Smith. I don't think I need to go into too much detail there because we were pretty extensive on that.
I think I would have said Geno Smith / Pete Carroll.
That's very fair.
Because I mean, Pete is going to change the culture, and that's, in any team that is suffering, that is on a losing decade or whatever. I mean, you need to change the culture.
Okay,
And
this is just a thought I had in my head. Imagine the players that had to deal with Josh McDaniels now deal with Pete Carroll. Imagine what they're thinking comparing those two in their head.
what?
Okay, now here are some moves that I think they could make before the season starts that could really change their team. And I have 2 free agent signings and 2 trades. I couldn't find a trade for every team, but I found some free agents I like. Broncos. I really like this idea of Alvin Kamara reuniting with Sean Payton to help open up that Broncos offense.
Okay.
Saints are going to be bad. I don't really see the use of having Alvin Kamara there right now. He knows the system. And it's just a versatile weapon out of the backfield for Bo Nix. Chargers. Jadeveon Clowney is still a free agent, and I think it'd be very good for them because they just lack a lot of edge rushers in general. He may not be the pass rusher he once was, but he's still really good in the run game and can help the Chargers out there.
That's interesting. I really have a feeling that he's sitting out of training camp. He'll sign.
Very possible.
He'll sign. I think he's either going to go to one of 2 places. I think he'll go back to Baltimore or he'll go to Seattle. But I just don't think he's going to sign because he's not going to want to go to training camp.
Very fair. I was looking at the list and I was like, they need edge, and I kind of like that move with Clowney. For the Chiefs, Rasul Douglas, and that's because they did lose Justin Reed, and I believe Douglas can be a versatile weapon in the secondary.
Fair enough. So for my key moves.
Well, hey, I got the Raiders.
Oh, I apologize.
Raiders, Darius Slayton from the Giants. They just need some more receiver help, I think, and Darius Slayton's the perfect type of guy I think Geno Smith would very much capitalize on with.
That's not bad. So I went for the Chiefs. I still think they need tackle depth. I'm not a fan of, I mean, I think Josh Simmons is going to start sooner or later, but I look at either Taylor Moton or Braden Smith. They're coming up in next year as being free agents. You might be able to get one of them for a fairly good deal. And the thing is I mean, look at how beat up their offensive line was last year. And you can't go into play against a team like Philadelphia with patchwork. For the Chargers, I still think they need some defensive tackle help. Sebastian Joseph, once again, going to be coming up for a free agent next year, and I think that he would really help them out. The other side of that would be, I mean, the Chargers have a really, really good team, and you're right, they don't have. I mean, Khalil Mack is awesome, but he's up there in years too, right? So going in on somebody, I don't think that the Bengals would trade for the Bengals would trade to an AFC rival like that. but maybe you throw caution to the wind because your team is so young and you're pretty solid there, and you offer a couple of first-round draft picks to Dallas to try to get. I'm just saying. So the Raiders could use more help at right tackle and defensive tackle, right? So I think if they went out and, same guys, Moton and Sebastian Joseph and, Braden Smith for them. For the Broncos, Jaquan Jennings.
I was tempted to use him. The only reason I didn't is because the 49ers will be like, we're not paying you. Okay, here's your money.
Well, right now, they're like, we don't have anybody else. We're not paying it, right?
Pearsall and Ayuk, I believe, were put on the PUP list.
Yes, they were, right? So, but I'm just saying that you go out, you get that guy. He's a bailout receiver, right? And he is always where you need him to be. So, I think he'll get paid, but this is just key moves that these teams could make to help them out. So who do you have for Defensive Rookie of the Year?
Defensive Rookie of the Year, I debate on this. I went Jedi Baron.
So did I.
He is going to have the opportunity to make a big impact because he's going to be targeted because they got Pat Surtain.
That's exactly the reason why. That is the exact same reason why I said the same thing. So yeah, Offensive Rookie of the Year. I'll give mine first. I did pick Omarion Hampton.
I did not.
Okay, and so the reason why I picked Hampton is because we saw going into last year that Harbaugh wants to run the ball, and that's going to open up a lot. And the thing is, he's a great receiving back too. So getting 3 or 4 touches out of the backfield, I just think that he is going to have an amazing year.
So my Offensive Rookie of the Year, it's a little off the board because it's not a skill position. It's Josh Simmons. Because if Josh Simmons hits, he's the most valuable rookie in that division because he's protecting the most valuable quarterback in the entire league.
Totally fair.
Defensive Player of the Year, I have a feeling we had the same guy. It goes to an edge rusher that applies pressure, so I had to go Max Crosby.
Whoa, look at that, Max Crosby. I'll bet you our Offensive Player of the Year is different, though.
Yes, I bet it is. And I think you should go first because I bet I have the bigger surprise.
Justin Herbert.
Very fair. He's got to do some lifting all the time. It's Justin Herbert. My Offensive Player of the Year, Ashton Genty. Why, you ask? He's going to get the touches. He is going to run for a lot of yards. He's going to score a lot of touchdowns. He is probably, if you told me I had to take one guy from this division for fantasy football, it'd be Ashton Genty because he's going to be utilized that much. With the Chiefs, I look at Pat Mahomes. That O-line I still have some questions about. The Chargers, Justin Herbert, love. But I still have concerns about that receiving core. I love Trey Harris, but he is a rookie. It's not fair for me to expect him to be dominant out of the gates. And Ladd McConkey did have some injury issues last year. So I look at the guy who I know is going to get ample opportunity. I'm going to take him.
Fair enough. I think that you're really short selling the Chargers tight end class. But that is, I totally understand Genty, and that's a great one. Okay, so how about how you rate the staffs?
Well, we gotta give her MVP of the division.
Oh, okay.
And the MVP, it's Pat Mahomes.
Justin Herbert.
Yeah, well, I refuse to bet against Pat.
Well, but here's the thing: if he's the Offensive Player of the Year in that league, he's the MVP of the league, right? So, that's just how I thought. So, your staff.
Staff, you got to put the Chiefs 1.
Absolutely.
Andy Reid has been so many Super Bowls. Spagnuolo is one of the best defensive coordinators of my lifetime.
I would agree.
Chargers, I have it too. I really love with what Harbaugh did year 1. They played much better than I thought. I love their defensive coordinator. I think Greg Roman is a fine offensive coordinator if he's doing his things properly, and he did last year, and I expect him to do the same thing this year.
Fair. We're neck and neck.
Third, I had the Broncos, and I'll get my reasoning why they're third when I get more or less the Raiders are fourth, but it's strictly because they're more established in their team.
And so I've reversed those. I have the Raiders, and then I have the Broncos. And
Raiders got knocked from me because of Chip Kelly. It's 100% the reason.
You just did like a 20-minute, like, oh, he's so soft and cuddly.
He is different, but...
And then now you're like, oh, man, this is like Geno hate, right? Oh, last year, Geno sucks. Oh, now he comes to the Raiders. Oh, he's a top 12 quarterback.
When did I badmouth Geno?
I'm not saying it was you.
I'm not signed to a national TV company yet. Good God, I have my brain that works still.
Anyway, I just think that they have the better staff.
And that's very fair. I just slight edge. And mind you, this was all insanely close. 3 of these head coaches have won a damn Super Bowl. The one that hasn't won a national championship in college football recently.
And has been to several Super Bowls.
Yes, like these staffs are pretty amazing.
Oh, yeah. No, you're 100% right there. So I'll go with the draft order because I got a feeling our how they're going to finish is going to be the same. So my draft order, I picked the Chargers first. I just think in their offense, those first 2 picks are just going to shine, right? So I really like that. I love the Raiders draft as well, and so they're my number 2. They had a lot of depth, a lot of players, and they added some really solid players. I have the Chiefs at 3. We've already talked about potentially the most impactful rookie of the year coming out of that, and they did pick up some other players, but I just feel that the other two teams had better overall drafts. And then the Broncos at 4. I love Jade, and I think that he is gonna be amazing. I picked him for my defensive rookie of the year, so that tells you just how amazing I think he's going to be. But I wasn't as high on the rest of their draft as you were. So after their top 2 picks, I was like, it's okay.
So for me, when I was doing this, because I really loved all these draft classes, I had a hard time. So
I agree.
I strictly applied my draft value with how I do it. So number 1, the Chiefs. Josh Simmons, stupid value. Omar Norman-Lott, love him. Jalen Royals, love him. And Brashard Smith, I also raved about. I had to put them 1. Number 2, I put the Chargers. They could have been 1 if they didn't take a running back in the first round. But other than that, I love the Caldwell pick. I love Trey Harris. Those 2 did a lot of carrying the weight for me because I think very, very highly of them. Third, I had the Broncos. The Broncos, they took guys I really do like, but they also took them earlier than I would have drafted them personally. And that was something that's why they're sitting at 3rd. 4th, I had the Raiders, and this is strictly because value, running back in the top 10, I had the Nakia. Everything else I thought was really good. Besh, I am not as high on it as everyone else, but that's fine. And honestly, Darian Porter was another guy that I just kind of knocked it for. But I had a hard time putting them this low because I do love that Charles Grant pick. The Charles Grant pick could be the best value pick in this entire draft class overall because he has all that potential. He could be a Jordan Mailata level. How did he get to that far in the draft?
Fair enough. Like I said, it's just how we're thinking of it, right? So I mean,
Yeah. Division standings. You said we have pretty lockstep, so let's read them off. Number 1, the Chiefs.
I have the Chiefs. I have number 2, the Chargers.
Same, Chargers.
I have the Broncos at 3.
I had the Raiders at 3.
I like it, but yeah, and then I have the Raiders at 4. And the reason why is I just still think that they've got more holes to fill than the other teams.
So, when I put the Raiders here, I'm going to be completely honest. This is me projecting just what I think Geno Smith can be with a competent O-line that I have not seen him with in Seattle. So, I put a lot of pressure on that. I looked at Geno Smith. I love him. I think he's amazing. Genty, I get the plan. I get the offensive structure. I think it's going to work really well. And as questions as I have on the Raiders defense, there are 2 reasons why I'm not panicking. Max Crosby, and here's another thing, Christian Wilkins is healthy this year. And number 2, Pete Carroll knows what he's doing on defense. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked this video, hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. If you want to check out some more team previews, I'm doing 32 in 32 days team previews, alphabetical order. I just uploaded the Chiefs video recently. Raiders, Chargers fans, your videos are going up, and the Broncos have been up on my channel. You want to check those out, go ahead. They're on the channel. They're on the playlist. It's linked right now on your screen. Hit that. If you'd share this, I'd greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much for tuning in. Have a great day and rejoice. Football is back.